you're one of the people that has inspired me a lot. So I'm wondering right now, who inspires you?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So for me, my approach to inspiration has been a little bit different.
Okay.
My inspiration hasn't been from a specific person,
Yeah.
but rather from looking at what is possible out there.
Okay.
Right. So when I was in primary school,
Yeah.
I would go online and see different people doing things. I would look at like how some certain technology works,
Yeah.
and it would start from very small things. Like I would look at cartoons
Mm.
and see somebody like, let's say, Jimmy Neutron, for instance.
Yeah.
See how they're innovative and things, and that would inspire me to actually try to do something.
Yeah.
Which sometimes would end up with me taking some spare parts from home and try to build something,
Yeah.
which of course didn't work because I didn't know the any technicalities around it. But it's just the sheer curiosity that inspired me. And going into secondary school,
Yeah.
it became about seeing different platforms. I would look at Steve Jobs standing and launching the iPhone and making it grow. I would look at the likes of Mark Zuckerberg and what they were doing with Facebook and follow that closely. And I would also look locally,
Yeah.
and see different platforms that are performing locally and be inspired. There was a platform, I don't know if you used it. It was called Snapchat.
No.
I'm sure you've used it because it was popular in those Symbian phones.
Okay.
It's the one that had Twitter and Facebook in it.
Okay.
And then later on, Facebook bought it and converted it into Facebook mobile app.
Okay.
And I'll be inspired by that. And then you look at different platforms that exist locally.
Yeah.
The likes of blogging that was happening at the time. And then later on with time, I came to learn about platforms like Jamii Forums, and all this that were happening. And that just inspired me. So it was more inspiration from the things happening around me than a specific person. And even right now, at a stage I'm at, I look around the world and see what's happening with AI and innovations, and people who are championing these things, and I'm inspired by that. So that, I think the advantage of it is it has allowed me to be inspired continuously, and has increased my thirst for knowledge, because it's not based on a person but based on the whole world, the way it is developing, and wanting to also learn from it but also put something into it.
You are running two companies that I know about so far, and you are a CEO of both. Running two companies at once, it's not a joke. Yeah. So I'm wondering, how do you manage that work and life balance, and how does your typical day looks like?
That's a good question. I think it's easy to manage two companies when they're just beginning.
Okay.
By the moment they start growing, then it becomes clear that you don't need to manage it, but rather you need to put systems in place.
Okay.
I don't know who said this, but they said if whatever you are building can't work without you around, then you're building a cage.
Okay.
Because in the end of the day, it's things that are gonna keep you stuck there, right? So that is one of the things I've been striving to do,
Yeah.
to build systems that work without me being around.
Yeah.
And that means getting the right people in place, creating mechanisms to follow up and manage things. But also, I've been intentionally trying to pull back from being the face of these businesses, because the biggest challenge with that is if you are the only face people see associated with Kinara and associated with Mtabe,
Yeah.
then when you want to push things without you being present,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like Mtabe is there or Kinara is there. So I've been mostly trying to push for the businesses to have their own identity separate from me. That way I can rely on systems and people can rely on their brands rather than an individual to push for things. My typical day is pretty much, it's very unpredictable at the moment.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm still trying to establish systems. It's something that I've been working this whole year to do.
Yeah.
But it involves some morning exercises. At some point during the day, I also have to meditate. These are not things I do every day, but that's the goal, to be able to do them every day. It involves talking to my teams from different spaces
Yeah.
and figuring out what they are doing for the day. Then apart from that, I also have to check with family, see how they are doing,
Okay.
and make sure that things are moving well, right? Because at some point you get to an age whereby it's not all about work. And I'm not saying I'm old, but I'm saying it gets to a point whereby now you also want to have a healthy relationships around you. So that's something that I'm also trying to be more intentional about.
When you said and talked about systems, it's very important, and I always talk about that in this podcast, that for you to be able to scale your business, you need to have system in place that even if you're not there, your system can still produce the results for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no difference on being an entrepreneur or an employee if you don't have systems.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So what other hobbies and interests do you have apart from running Mtabe and your technology company?
I like following up on soccer,
Okay.
and surprisingly more locally than internationally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not very informed at the moment about what's happening with like the English Premier League and all that, but I'm very well involved with the local league. And I think me having worked with Simba Sports Club accelerated that.
Yeah.
I was already interested in the local football, but not as much. So having worked with Simba has allowed me to really see the sort of beauty and chaos in the local league. So now I'm very much interested in it, in football. But apart from that, I also like to, when I can write, it can be just small pieces. I haven't successfully managed to establish a habit of writing long articles, but I do like to write my thoughts a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do poetry, although with time I haven't done that in a really long while. And then apart from that, maybe just movies. And right now, my hobby is to understand more about AI,
Okay.
because it's going to change the world so much. And I feel we as Africans specifically, and young people in Africa,
Yeah.
we are at a point where we need to fully understand and take advantage of artificial intelligence, because for the first time there's a technology that exists in which there isn't a dominant player, at least on one level lower than the core of it,
Yeah.
or higher. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Right now AI is very important.
Yeah.
And even us personally on our podcast,
Mm.
it helps us a lot. First of all, it helps us with content creation.
Yeah.
It helps us with preparing questions for guests. For example, before you came here, I knew you before,
Yeah.
but I still had to go to AI and tell ChatGPT to do a deep research on given Edwards and give me the questions that I want, and it produced.
That's a good use.
Yeah. Let's say during editing, it helps us a lot with editing. I hope you have seen our captions on Instagram. All that is generated by AI. And there's another app, an AI app, which is very amazing. So after we shoot like this, you can just upload the voices, the videos, and it can cut the whole podcast for you.
That's pretty cool.
Just like in less than 1 minute.
It saves a lot of time.
Yeah,
It's really good, and
Yeah.
I hope it won't put our brother out of work.
The funny thing is, AI cannot record videos like this so far.
That's true.
I hope maybe one day the Tesla bot will be able to replace our director there. But
Yeah,
I don't think so, because it's very expensive.
Well, the thing with AI is, AI maximizes who you already are,
Okay.
right? AI cannot make for lack of a better word, it can't make a stupid person smart.
Yeah.
Right? What it can do is it can make a smart person smarter,
Yeah.
and it can help a person who is stupid to be able to move from that stupidity. And by stupid, it's mostly to mean a person not aware of a specific topic or domain, right? Because when you use AI, you have to know what you are looking to get out of it.
Yeah.
It will give you exactly what you ask of it, but it won't think for you. You have to go there with a thought.
Yeah.
Right? Which means it's like, imagine you have like a cooking machine that will cook any food that you want. Right? It's not going to make you a good cook. You have to go there knowing exactly what you want to cook. Right? And if you know